This year's Thanksgiving is not imperiled by a single shock, but by a convergence of stress across three systems that normally operate quietly in the background: the continuity of federal governance, the capacity of the aviation network, and the stability of the food supply. Each of these systems is under strain individually, but the decisive danger lies in how they reinforce and destabilize one another. The shutdown, now the longest ever recorded, has exposed how fragile the holiday truly is, revealing that Thanksgiving depends not on tradition alone, but on a functioning state. The first reinforcing loop begins with governance. With federal funding suspended, the Federal Aviation Administration has imposed mandatory flight reductions at major airports. 4% cuts now, rising to 10% in the coming weeks, and as high as 20% if negotiations stall further. Air traffic controllers and screeners working without pay are increasingly absent, pushing daily cancellations beyond 2,000. These are not just travel inconveniences. Reduced air throughput compresses freight schedules, tightens retail inventories, and raises the cost of perishables at the precise moment when the nation is attempting to gather. Concurrently, the turkey flock is at a 40-year low, and wholesale prices have risen roughly 40% year over year due to a renewed wave of avian influenza. What might otherwise be a manageable price signal becomes, under strained transportation, a supply crisis. And as shelves thin and flights fail, political pressure intensifies, meaning the food and travel breakdowns loop back to shape the negotiations that caused them. The negative cascades are equally severe. Every day the shutdown continues. The cost of its continuation becomes more visible. Stranded airports, frayed tempers, and logistical paralysis shrink the political margin for letting it run. Every price shock or inventory shortage pushes more shoppers and shipments into narrower time windows, which further stresses an airline system already operating below safe staffing levels. And as the shutdown delays inspections and disease response coordination, the poultry supply grows more vulnerable still. Each degraded system actively worsens the others, creating a descending spiral. None of this is accidental. These are the predictable results of letting critical infrastructure operate without margin, redundancy, or stewardship. Taken together, the pattern is unmistakable. A lapse in governance constrains aviation capacity. Reduced aviation capacity destabilizes food availability and price. And food volatility increases the social and political cost of governance failure. Yet the most troubling feature is that the effects are nonlinear. Small administrative decisions now produce outsized disruptions. The step from 4% to 10% mandated flight reductions is not just incremental, it reshapes the entire national holiday travel map. A slight weakening of federal coordination turns manageable disease monitoring into meaningful supply shortfall. The system no longer absorbs stress, it magnifies it. When governance lapses occur at the same time that the food supply is tight, the aviation network becomes the bottleneck through which all consequences must pass. With bird flu constraining availability and the shutdown constraining staffing and routing, the air system crosses a threshold. Cancellations pile onto cancellations. Rebooking capacity evaporates. Freight competes with passengers, and both lose. And in a symmetry as efficient as it is damaging, the collapse of the aviation system increases the political pressure of the shutdown while worsening access to the very holiday goods whose scarcity helped trigger public anxiety in the first place. In a year of normal functioning, strength in any two of these systems could stabilize the third. Strong governance and a resilient food supply would make heavy holiday travel manageable, or solid aviation capacity and governance continuity would allow the food system to recover from disease-driven stress. But this year presents the inverse configuration. Weakness in any two sectors drags the third into failure. The burden is additive, but the collapse is multiplicative. The convergence is the warning. Governance continuity, transportation capacity, and food system resilience now act as mutual amplifiers. Strengthening any one could begin stabilizing the others. Weakening any one accelerates collapse across the whole structure. Unless appropriations resume and the federal apparatus returns to active stewardship, this Thanksgiving will not simply be strained. it will reveal how close to systemic failure the holiday already was. Thanksgiving has always depended on logistics, planning, and a baseline competence the public rarely sees. This year shows how fragile those foundations have become. The lesson is not only that Thanksgiving is at risk, it is that when governance, mobility, and food stability fail together, the effects are not theoretical. They appear as empty shelves, silent concourses, overloaded ticket counters, and a holiday that feels like it is coming apart while we are still trying to set the table.